There is a city in the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil, not Rio de Janeiro with its beaches and its carnival and its Christ the Redeemer looking down over the bay. Not Sao Paulo itself, the giant, roaring megacity that never sleeps. Mogi das Cruzes, a city of 300,000 people, ordinary, working class. The kind of city that exists in the shadow of larger places, doing the quiet work of the world without much recognition. And on the 5th of February 1992, in this city, a baby boy was born. His name was Neymar da Silva Santos Jr., named after his father. His father, Neymar Sr., had been a footballer himself, not a famous one, not a professional who played in the big stadiums. He had played for Mogi das Cruzes, a lower league club, a man who had a gift for the game but whose career had been ended early by injury. His mother, Nadine, managed the household, a woman of extraordinary strength, because she needed to be, because the family had almost nothing. The family faced significant economic hardship, frequently lacking resources for basic needs such as food, with Neymar later describing childhood memories of wanting simple items like cookies but being unable to afford them. They relocated several times during his early childhood, from Mogi das Cruzes to coastal areas including São Vicente, and eventually to Praia Grande. They lived in a low-income neighborhood adjacent to an old garbage dump until around 2008, next to a garbage dump. The boy who would one day become the most expensive footballer in the history of the sport grew up next to a garbage dump. In a 2013 interview, Neymar recalled the difficulties of his childhood. "I had to walk a lot because my mom did not have a car. No car, barely enough food. A father who juggled multiple jobs trying to keep the family alive. And in the middle of all of this, a football, kicked against walls, played with on the streets, dribbled through gaps between parked cars and startled pedestrians. Football was everywhere in Brazil, but for Neymar it was not just a game. It was the only way out. His father understood this before anyone else. Neymar Sr. had seen what he himself could not become, had felt the edge of something great and been turned back by injury. And now he watched his son, this skinny, quick, joyful boy, and saw something he had never quite seen before. Not just talent, genius. He dedicated himself to his son's development. Every moment he was not working, he was watching Neymar play, correcting him, teaching him, driving him to training and standing on touchlines in the rain. At the age of 11, Neymar joined the youth academy of Santos FC. Santos, the club of Peel, the club that had produced Brazil's greatest ever footballer. He was plucked from obscurity as an 11-year-old by Santos FC, the club where Peel made his name. And from the moment Neymar walked through their doors, the coaches at Santos knew this was different. Neymar spent 6 years in Santos's youth academy, 6 years of development, of training, of learning the craft of football in the city by the sea where Peel had once made the world fall in love with the beautiful game. And in those 6 years, he became something, not just a good young player, not just a prospect. He became unmistakable. His style of play was like nothing Brazilian football had produced in a generation. He had the instinctive dribbling of the great street footballers. He had pace. He had a left foot that could bend the ball in ways that seemed to defy physics. But what made him truly special was the joy. He played with a smile, with flair, with a creativity that seemed to come from some place deeper than training. As if the game was something he was making up as he went along, improvising like a jazz musician, every touch an invention. Growing up in poverty, Neymar showed outrageous flair from childhood, the kind of directness and creativity that you cannot coach. On the 7th of March 2009, Neymar made his professional debut for Santos. He was 17 years old. From the first moment he stepped onto the pitch as a professional, he looked like a future superstar. And within months, everyone in Brazil knew his name. The goals came, the dribbles came. The moments of individual brilliance that made crowds gasp and opposition defenders shake their heads in disbelief. In 2011, Neymar won the South American Footballer of the Year award. He was 19 years old. He was already being compared to Peel, and the clubs of Europe were watching. Real Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, all of them sending scouts to Santos. all of them preparing transfer bids, all of them desperate to sign this boy from the garbage dump who had become the most exciting young footballer in the world. But Neymar was not ready to leave, not yet, because Santos still had something to offer him. In 2011, Santos won the Copa Libertadores, South America's greatest club competition, the equivalent of the Champions League. Neymar was the best player in the tournament. His performances were electrifying. And at the end of 2011, Neymar received the Puskás Award, given by FIFA for the most beautiful goal of the year. A curling, dipping, impassable left foot strike that left the goalkeeper and the watching world completely helpless. He was 19 years old. He had just won the greatest goal award on the planet. And in 2013, Neymar made his decision. Barcelona. In June 2013, Neymar signed for FC Barcelona. And what happened when Neymar joined Barcelona was something football had never quite seen before. Barcelona lined up with three forwards, Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Neymar, MSN, the most devastating attacking trio in the history of football. Messi, the greatest player in the world, Suarez, one of the most clinical finishers alive, and Neymar, the most creative, joyful, unpredictable attacker on the planet. Together, they were unstoppable. Barcelona paid £49 million in 2013, and Neymar formed the most devastating attacking trio in modern football history with Messi and Suarez. In the 2014 to 2015 season, MSN scored 122 goals between them. Barcelona won the treble, La Liga, the Copa del Rey, the Champions League. In the Champions League final against Juventus in Berlin, Neymar scored the third goal that sealed the victory. He was 23 years old. He had already won a Champions League. And in 2016, in Rio de Janeiro, in front of his own people, Neymar did something he had been waiting his entire life to do. He won an Olympic gold medal for Brazil. Neymar holds the record for the fastest goal in Olympic history for a male footballer. The goal happened in the 2016 Olympics during Brazil's semi-final game against Honduras. Neymar smashed the ball into the net in just 14 seconds. 14 seconds. The fastest goal in Olympic history. And when Brazil won the final, Neymar broke down and wept on the pitch. Tears of a boy who had grown up next to a garbage dump, whose family could not afford cookies, whose father had given everything to watch his son become great, fulfilling a dream that his country had waited for 36 years. Brazil, Olympic gold, at home, but the shadows were gathering, because within the MSN era a tension was building. Messi was the captain, Messi was the highest paid, Messi was the best player in the world, and Neymar was living in Messi's shadow. He wanted to be the best, the number one, not the second best behind the greatest player who ever lived. And then, in the summer of 2017, an offer came. An offer so large that it changed the history of football forever. Paris Saint-Germain. On the 3rd of August 2017, Neymar Jr. signed for Paris Saint-Germain. Neymar became the most expensive player in soccer history after completing his blockbuster transfer to Paris Saint-Germain from Barcelona for €222 million, more than double the previous transfer record. €222 million, the most expensive transfer in the history of football. A number so large, it seemed almost fictional. For one footballer, he was the biggest star in the French league, the most valuable player in the world, and in his first season at PSG he was brilliant. But the Champions League, the competition that PSG desperately wanted to win, remained elusive. And then came the injuries, because the years at PSG were not just years of football, they were years of pain. Ankle injuries, foot injuries, metatarsal fractures, ligament problems, surgery, rehabilitation, return, injury again. The Brazilian has endured a terrible run with injuries since leaving Brazil, suffering 41 injuries and missing 241 games. 41 injuries, 241 games missed. In 6 seasons at PSG, there was always a moment where you thought, this is the year. This is when everything comes together. This is when Neymar leads PSG to the Champions League. They reached the final in 2020, losing to Bayern Munich. Neymar was brilliant throughout the competition. He carried the team in moments when they had nothing left. They lost. In 2023, he left PSG after 6 years, after €222 million, after 118 goals in 173 appearances. He went to Saudi Arabia, to Al Hilal, and within months of arriving in a qualifying match for the 2026 World Cup, he collapsed, ACL injury, meniscus tear, his left knee, the worst possible injury for a footballer. He was 31 years old, and for a moment the world wondered if Neymar Jr. was finished. In January 2025, Neymar made a decision. He left Al Hilal. He left Saudi Arabia. He left the money and the comfort and the easy path, and he went home. Only Santos can give me the love that I need to prepare for the challenges I have in the next few years, Neymar said. He returned to Santos, the club where everything had begun, the club of Peel, the club where a 17-year-old boy from Praia Grande had first shown the world what he could do. Santos fans had posted a video of a man with the voice of legendary 3-time World Cup winner Peel, who died in 2022, asking Neymar to return and wear his historic number 10 shirt. Peel's number 10 shirt, waiting for Neymar. The return was not easy. More injuries interrupted his comeback. Critics grew louder. But in 2025, he still managed to record 12 goals and 6 assists in 30 appearances. Numbers that prove he remains a difference maker when fit. And when Santos were in danger of relegation from the Brazilian Championship, Neymar delivered. With 5 goals and 1 assist across 4 decisive matches, Neymar ensured Santos avoided relegation. When the club needed him most, he was there. And then, the call from the national team. Brazil's all-time leading scorer completed an emotional return to the national team, earning a place in Brazil's 26-man squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It will be Neymar's 4th World Cup appearance. His 4th World Cup, at 34 years old, after 41 injuries, after 241 missed games, after everything, he was going to the World Cup. Let us look at what Neymar Jr. has built. He made 225 appearances for Santos, scoring 136 goals. He scored 105 goals for Barcelona in 186 appearances, helping the team win 2 La Ligas and 1 UEFA Champions League. At PSG, he scored 118 goals in 173 appearances, winning 5 League One titles. Brazil's all-time leading scorer, Olympic gold medalist, Copa Libertadores winner, Champions League winner, the most expensive player in the history of football, a record that still stands today. And something else, he has never forgotten where he came from. The boy who grew up without clean water now funds clean water and sanitation projects for poor communities in Brazil. The boy who could not afford cookies now funds education and health services for children who live the way he once lived. His name is Neymar Jr., the most expensive player in the history of football. The boy from the garbage dump who changed the game. Thank you for watching Shadow Files. If this story moved you, subscribe for more new stories every week.